Ford and Hyundai have reported over 70% and 30% growth in EV sales this year. Things are starting to really improve for these two companies. Hello my friends and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Welcome to the channel that makes more videos about electric cars than anyone else. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong on that though, and then I'll stop making that claim. Speaking of claims, in their respective June sales reports, Ford and Hyundai saw growth in EV sales compared to last year's second quarter. Ford saw an impressive 77% growth in EV sales, coming from a pretty low base to be fair, while Hyundai posted a respectable 30% growth year over year. So kudos, Jim Farley. I have been praising the guy for a long time. I was critical about a few things he said and did, but in general, I've been pretty positive about Jim. And honestly, I think Ford do have a good CEO. Some of their executive management board, their kind of legacy carryover from their history, it's just a dead weight. They're paying like $16 million to a dude who's just related to the founder and doesn't really do anything, the chairman. But anyhow, aside from that, hey, you know what? They're doing good things. Despite the automotive industry having a rough second quarter, there were some clear winners. Ford was able to sell over 70% more EVs in the US than they did at the same time last year, and Hyundai was able to increase EV sales globally by 30%. Statistics are so varied in scale, they are hard to compare. They give a good indication that these brands are headed in the right direction, but are they doing it fast enough? My answer would be maybe not. I mean, for example, massive disruption is happening right now in China. Very, very worrisome for legacy auto manufacturers who produce a very large percentage of the cars in China, or used to anyway. That's changing right now very, very quickly. So companies like Ford and Hyundai will have to significantly, or in particular Volkswagen as well and Toyota, will have to significantly grow their market percentage in other countries outside of China in order to maintain just status quo, not to increase sales, just to keep them at a steady level. That's probably not likely to happen in my view. In Ford's June sales report, Ford said, in June, Ford brand is second only to Tesla in the US in electric vehicle sales. The brand totaled 4,353 EV sales in June alone, a 76.6% increase from the same time last year. Of this number, 1,837 were F-150 Lightning trucks and 2,516 were Mustang Mach-E's. This does not include Ford's E-Transit sales totaling 3,008, a number they claim is more than 16 times the combined sales of all US electric commercial vans. All of this is good news. It is. It's really good news. But to be, how do I put this? To give some context, to be fair, right? There were 18 brands in China, 18 that sold more electric cars in China than Ford did in the US in the month of June. So the numbers are great improvements. If we keep on seeing these improvements, then we'll be able to see Ford, jump up these charts and really do some impressive stuff. But at this point in time, because they're coming from a low base, 70% improvement sounds great, but it's not really that much of a difference. What about Hyundai? Well, Hyundai saw significant growth in EV sales, according to Teslarati, but their reporting has been far less thorough. In their global report, they state that global EV sales have grown by 30%. However, the only specific number released in their June sales report was for the Ioniq 5, which sold 2,853 in June, a 48% increase from May. Now, you guys in the US are kind of lucky. You got 2,853 of those. We got 60. We got 60. And, we want them. So, US guys, stop buying them. We want some here in Australia. Sales of the Kona EV and other plug-in models were clumped together with internal combustion engine vehicle sales, and a total number of EV sales was not provided for either of them, so we don't have that information yet. Ford and Hyundai have published some EV-specific sales statistics online. Others have yet to do the same, but reserve an honorable mention. Tesla, while publishing worldwide sales, has not published their full financial report, nor has it broken down its sales by country or region. But we do know that Tesla actually produced and delivered 78,900 and something or other EVs in China in the month of June alone. So that's essentially 80,000 in one country. I'm going to guess that their production numbers were probably close to 140, 150,000 in the month of June alone. Big change for Tesla, and I can see stock price bouncing back up. I've held on during this period of time. In fact, I did sell some stock when it was at 1,200. Fortunately, I was a bit lucky there. And then I bought back in when it was at about 650, 660, around that level. So yeah, a bit lucky there. But you never know what's going to happen. I do think, though, Tesla's numbers will actually grow significantly over the rest of this year. Stock price will probably bounce back to previous highs by the end of the year. Kia. They've published their limited information numbers so far. They were able to increase sales of the EV6 by 137% compared to Q1 2021. GM, what about them? Well, another brand that has published limited information on EV sales, possibly intentionally, I'm not sure, but they restarted bulk production, and with the help of their delivery van sales, they were able to increase EV sales by 15 times from Q1. 15 times from Q1. That seems amazing, right? However, they only sold 457 EVs in the first quarter. So even if they had increased sales by 100-fold, that still would have only been 45,000 cars. Anyway, at least things are starting to look a bit more positive for General Motors. I do think by this time next year, we're going to see a lot more electric vehicle production from GM and Ford. Will we see Ford or GM meet what they promised this year? No. Rivian, no. Not all those three, the numbers that they said they'd promised to deliver this year are completely mathematically impossible at this stage. Are they doing their best to get there? Yeah, of course, for sure. I'm sure they're working very hard. And the point is, the intention is great. The intention is fantastic. Promising investors numbers that are never going to happen, that to me is questionable. I don't like it when companies do that. I think that they should consider, the SEC should definitely consider whether or not they fine these companies, whether or not they at least warn them to say, you're promising numbers that are clearly physically impossible. You've only hit less than 5%. You say you're going to deliver a certain number for the whole year. You've only done 5% of that after 6 months. Really, you're going to do the other 95% in the next 6 months of the year. Is that feasible? Maybe you should be telling your investors realistic numbers. To me, that would be fair. Now, the intention is to produce those cars. I know it is. Absolutely, they intend to do so. Will they do so? I think they surely must be aware that it's not physically possible at this stage. Next year, things I think will be a lot better, though, for those companies, especially GM and Ford, who are obviously investing a lot of money into electric cars. Let me know what you think in the comments below.